Namaskara. Welcome to Ramayana, the Universal Compass. Today we confront a question that has haunted the readers of Valmiki Ramayana for millennia. Was Kaikeyi a chosen conduit, or was she something far more complex? A fortunately unfortunate person chosen for divine action. In our previous session on 35th chapter of Ayodhya Kanda, we listened to Sumantra's bitter comparison of Kaikeyi to a neem tree. But if we dive into finer aspects and correlate the happenings with a global resonance, we can perceive that the Ramayana is a profound philosophical resource that stands alongside the greatest explorations of human destiny in world literature. When we consider the tragedies of Shakespeare, specifically the unraveling of King Lear, we recognize that catastrophe often begins long before the final act. It begins with a compromise of duty. King Dasharatha, despite his righteousness, carried a latent debt. He had promised the Kekaya King at the time of marrying Kaikeyi that the son of Kaikeyi would only succeed the throne, a promise that conflicted with the natural order of primogeniture. This was not a divine cruelty but a human choice, an exercise of Datta Swatantrya, the independent agency that governs all our lives. The resulting tragedy is the inevitable harvest of that hidden compromise. This brings us to the enigmatic figure of Manthara. To dismiss her as a mere servant is to miss the architecture or the epic. Emerging from the great churning, the manifestation of Alakshmi, her nature was fundamentally at odds with the harmony of the universe. Yet, through her own penance, she sought a different path, an abnormal aim for moksha that defied her inherent cosmic nature. She was a being exercising her own flawed agency, waiting for the moment to disrupt the sequence of history. Kaikeyi, caught in this karmic storm, became the chosen conduit. To understand her, we must see the two sides of her tragedy. She was, in a sense, fortunate to be the vessel through which the Lord's Leela unfolded, yet unfortunate to become the most reviled figure in history. Her isolation was absolute. She was so thoroughly cast as the antagonist that even her own beloved son Bharata turned against her, publicly rebuking and insulting her for the exile of his brother. When Bharata went to the forest to beg Rama to return, it was not merely an act of devotion, it was a direct insult to the injury of her sacrifice, a public rejection from the very heart she had tried to protect. She stood alone in her own palace, abandoned by the son she loved and the husband she cherished. By fulfilling the role of the one who demands the exile, she effectively sacrificed her own reputation and her place in the hearts of the people to ensure the Lord could fulfill his purpose. She accepted the silence of the aftermath, never defending herself, never blaming others, with a stoic endurance that rivals the tragic heroines of Sophocles or the suffering protagonists of Milton. Without her, Rama would have been forced to seek other, perhaps less complete paths to reach Ravana. She provided the platform upon which the entire victory was built. In the great global tradition of tragic figures, from the suffering nobility in the works of Yeats or the profound sacrifices seen in the narratives of the Bible, we rarely see such a paradox. The person who appears to destroy the hero is in reality the one who makes his glory possible. The Ramayana teaches us that we are often the vessels of currents that began long before our birth. Whether it is the law of compensation as defined by Emerson or the poetic high seriousness of Wordsworth, the truth remains we are actors in a drama that is both deeply personal and comically orchestrated. Kaikeyi's tragedy reminds us that to serve a higher purpose, one must sometimes be willing to the most misunderstood person in the room. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Kanda. Sri Krishna Arpanam.